This woman discovers that her secretary is trying to steal her child away from her. Rage ignites in her heart. To protect her daughter, she decides to set a trap and completely destroy the secretary. But her daughter wasn't being taken by force. Instead, her daughter already knew the secretary was her father's mistress. The daughter didn't want to embarrass her mother. She just wanted to know who she'd be living with after her parents' divorce. Grace comforts her daughter, telling her nothing will change. She'll still live in the home where she grew up and visit her father on weekends. Back at the law firm, Grace begins to feel anxious because she'd been so busy with work. Her husband had basically been the one taking care of their daughter, so she wasn't confident that her daughter would choose her. Though the secretary was reluctant to leave the firm, she was being harassed by colleagues all day long, facing all kinds of cruel words and insults. She felt incredibly oppressed. She came to Grace's office. Seeing no one around, she secretly opened her boss's computer. She saw that Grace had given her a perfect score on her performance review. The secretary was immediately elated. She never imagined that Grace would actually recommend her for mayor. After her moment of triumph, the secretary secretly sat in Grace's chair, dreaming of the day she could replace her. Just as she was feeling good about herself, Grace suddenly burst through the door. Grace was well aware of the secretary's little games. Give her a little praise and she starts forgetting who she is. She asked the secretary what she had said to her daughter at the coffee shop. The secretary told Grace if she wanted custody of her daughter, she'd have to help her with something. Only then did Grace realize the reason her husband hadn't been fighting for custody lately was because he and his mistress disagreed on this matter. The secretary promised that once this issue was resolved, she would convince Jess to give up custody of Bella. Grace listened with complete disdain. Mia had recently taken on a case. A couple was going through a divorce. Neither wanted custody of their children. During the appeal, the husband suddenly changed his mind. He didn't want the divorce anymore. The case hit a dead end. Mia, as the wife's attorney, went to Grace for strategy advice. Grace immediately understood the opposing counsel's goal. They wanted to shift focus, leading the wife to provide evidence of her husband's daily drinking. This evidence could help the wife get her divorce, but it would also prove the husband wasn't a good father. That way, custody would naturally go to the mother. Once custody was awarded to the mother, the husband could proceed with the divorce later. The two of them met with Mrs. Shui together. She immediately begged them to help her escape from hell. She especially didn't want her life consumed by two children, completely losing herself, having no time that belonged to her alone. This scene suddenly reminded Grace of when she had given birth to her daughter. To reclaim her sense of self-worth, she quickly returned to work, leaving her husband to shoulder all the family responsibilities. The next day at the mediation, Grace could see that the husband had come to deeply understand just how difficult it was to raise children alone. She seized the moment to propose that custody go to the father, but the mother would take care of the children every weekend. She specifically emphasized that starting Friday evening, the father would be free to do whatever he wanted. He could drink if he felt like it. No one would be there to control him anymore. The husband was instantly tempted. Since the children were about to start school, not only would he not have to pay child support, he could successfully divorce his wife and escape her control. He eventually signed the agreement. After handling this matter, Grace